My fiance's mom said, I raised him so I get a key to your house. Then I came home early and found her rearranging our bedroom. I should have seen it coming. When Derek proposed, his mom Vivian cried for 3 hours, not happy tears. The kind of crying that comes with accusations about stealing her baby and ruining her life's work. At our engagement party, she cornered me by the bathroom and said, "You'll never know him like I do. I carried him for 9 months." What have you done? The key thing started 2 weeks after we moved into our first house together. Derek mentioned casually that his mom wanted a spare key. Just in case of emergencies, he said. I laughed it off until she showed up at our doorstep holding a full keychain with our address engraved on it. I raised him so I get a key to your house, she announced, pushing past me. What if there's a fire? What if Derek gets hurt and can't call me? I looked at Derek. He just shrugged. She's always been like this, his expression said. Don't make it a thing. So I didn't make it a thing. Not when she let herself in at 6 a.m. to make Derek his favorite breakfast. Not when I found her doing our laundry, refolding everything I'd already folded because I was doing it wrong. Not when she rearranged our kitchen cabinets to match her system. This is what good mothers do, she'd say. They take care of their sons. But last Tuesday, I left work early with a migraine. I unlocked the front door and heard movement upstairs. My first thought was burglar. My second thought was, please let it be a burglar. It wasn't. Vivian was in our bedroom, our very private bedroom, moving furniture. She'd already shifted the bed to face a different wall, relocated Derek's nightstand, and was currently hanging different curtains. My clothes were piled on the floor. In their place, she'd arranged several framed photos of Derek as a child. What are you doing? I managed to say. She didn't even look startled. The energy in here was all wrong. A mother can sense these things. The bed facing that direction was blocking Derek's success chakras. She gestured at my displaced clothes. And these colors you wear, they're too aggressive. I brought some softer options for you. That's when I saw it. My birth control pills sitting on the dresser, open, with several missing. Did you take my medication? I asked quietly. Vivian smiled. Derek needs to become a father. You've been selfish long enough. I calculated your cycle. If everything goes according to plan, you should be pregnant within the month. I called Derek immediately. He was in a meeting but promised we'd talk tonight. I'm sure there's an explanation, he texted. Just don't upset her. She means well. That night, Derek came home to find me packing. He seemed confused, then annoyed. You're overreacting. She's just trying to help. That's what mothers do. When I showed him the pills, he went pale but recovered quickly. Maybe you miscounted. You've been stressed. I stopped packing and stared at him. Your mother broke into our house, rearranged our bedroom, and tampered with my birth control. And you're defending her? She didn't break in. She has a key. And the bedroom thing? Yeah, it's weird, but she's done stuff like that my whole life. The pills, though, you're probably just confused. I slept in the guest room. The next morning, I checked our home security footage on my phone. What I found made my blood run cold. This wasn't Vivian's first unauthorized visit. The timestamps showed she'd been coming to our house almost daily while we were at work, sometimes for hours. I scrolled through weeks of footage, my hands shaking. Then I saw last Thursday's video. Vivian in our kitchen, her back to the camera, doing something at the counter. I zoomed in on my coffee mug, the one I use every morning. She was adding something to it from a small bottle, something she then carefully tucked back into her purse. I sat on the edge of the bed, my phone clutched in my hand, watching the footage loop. The way she glanced over her shoulder before adding the substance, the practiced ease of her movements. This wasn't impulsive, this was routine. I scrolled back further. 3 weeks ago, same thing. 5 weeks ago, 2 months. Every single time, she waited until the coffee was made, added something from that bottle, then disappeared before we got home. My stomach turned as I remembered the symptoms I'd been having. The constant fatigue, the dizziness that hit me every morning around 10 a.m., the nausea I'd attributed to stress, the brain fog that made concentrating at work nearly impossible. I'd been to 3 doctors. They'd run blood tests, checked my thyroid, suggested anxiety medication. Nothing came back abnormal, because they weren't looking for poison. I downloaded every video to a secure cloud account. Then I called my best friend Tessa. I need you to come over right now, I said, and bring your camera, the good one. Tessa arrived within 30 minutes, her professional photography equipment in tow. She listened as I explained everything, her expression shifting from disbelief to horror. We need to get that bottle tested, she said. And you need to see a toxicologist. I can't just accuse her without proof. Derek will never believe me. Then we get proof. We set up Tessa's hidden cameras. Professional grade, motion activated, impossible to spot. 1 in the kitchen, 1 in the bedroom, 1 in the living room. Then we waited. I went to work the next day as normal, left my coffee mug in its usual spot. Derek kissed me goodbye, completely oblivious. At 9:47 a.m., my phone buzzed. Motion detected in kitchen. I pulled up the live feed. There was Vivian, letting herself in with her key. She moved through the house like she owned it, checking rooms, opening drawers. Then she headed to the kitchen. I watched her pull out that same small brown bottle. This time Tessa's camera captured everything in crystal clear 4K. The label on the bottle, the precise way she unscrewed the dropper, the 3 drops she added to my coffee. I downloaded the video immediately and forwarded it to Tessa. Then I called my manager. I need to leave. Family emergency. When I got home, Vivian was gone, but my coffee was sitting on the counter, steaming, waiting for me. I took photos from every angle. Then I carefully transferred it into a sealed container and hid it in the garage. That night, I showed Derek the new footage. He watched in silence, his face blank. When it ended, he didn't speak. Your mother is poisoning me, I said quietly. There has to be an explanation. What explanation could there possibly be? Maybe it's vitamins. She's always been into holistic health stuff. Vitamins don't make you sick, Derek. I've been ill for months, and she's been adding this to my coffee for months. He stood up, running his hands through his hair. This is insane. My mother wouldn't hurt anyone. Then why is she sneaking into our house and adding unknown substances to my drinks? I don't know. But calling it poison? That's extreme. I stared at him. What would it take for you to believe me? Do I need to end up in the hospital? Or worse? He flinched. Don't be dramatic. I'm getting it tested. Tomorrow. And when it comes back showing exactly what I think it will, we're done. Done? I can't marry someone who won't protect me from his own mother. That got his attention. You'd throw away 3 years over this? She tampered with my birth control. She's been drugging me. And you're asking me to give her the benefit of the doubt. Derek's jaw clenched. Fine. Get it tested. But when it comes back as nothing, I expect an apology. To me and to my mother. I took the coffee sample to a private lab the next morning, paid extra for rush processing. The technician raised an eyebrow when I explained I needed to know everything in it. Is this for a legal case? She asked. It might be. Then you'll want documentation, chain of custody, photographs of the original sample. I have all of that. She nodded slowly. Results in 48 hours. Those 2 days were the longest of my life. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I stayed with Tessa, unable to go back to the house where Vivian had free access. Derek called 12 times. I didn't answer. On day 3, the lab called. Ms. Peterson, your results are ready, but I need to inform you that we're required to report certain findings to authorities. My heart stopped. What did you find? The sample contained caffeine, cream, sugar, and significant amounts of valerian root, melatonin, and a benzodiazepine that requires a prescription, specifically lorazepam, enough to cause sedation, confusion, and memory problems with regular dosing. I gripped the phone. Is that dangerous? Potentially, yes, especially if you're driving or operating machinery. Long-term use without medical supervision can cause dependency and withdrawal symptoms. And if you were taking it unknowingly, you could easily overdose. Can you email me the full report? Already done, but I need to ask, do you want to file a police report? This is clearly intentional contamination. I thought about Derek, about his complete inability to see his mother for what she was, about 3 years of my life invested in someone who chose her over me every single time. Yes, I said. I want to file a report. The detective who took my statement was a woman in her 40s named Officer Patricia Chen. She listened to everything, took notes, watched the videos. This is clear-cut, she said. Breaking and entering, theft, assault with intent to cause bodily harm. The evidence is solid. What happens now? We'll get a warrant, confiscate the bottle assuming she still has it, press charges. With this level of documentation, it's an easy case. Her son is my fiancé. Officer Chen looked up. Is he aware of what's happening? I showed him the evidence. He thinks I'm overreacting. She nodded slowly. I've seen cases like this before. Mother-son enmeshment. It's psychological abuse, and it often escalates. If you need resources for domestic violence counseling, I'm leaving him. Smart decision. The warrant was executed the next day. I wasn't there, but Derek called me 17 times in a row. When I finally answered, he was screaming. The police just arrested my mother. They're saying you accused her of poisoning you. This is insane. The lab results came back, Derek. Sedatives. In my coffee. Your mother has been drugging me for months. Silence. Then quietly. There has to be a mistake. There's no mistake. The police have the bottle. They're testing it now. When it matches what was in my system, she's going to jail. You called the police on my mother. His voice was cold. Your mother has been assaulting me for months. Yes, I called the police. You're destroying our family. No, Derek, your mother did that when she decided to poison me. He hung up. I moved my stuff out of the house that day. Tessa helped me pack. We took everything that mattered, left the rest. On the kitchen counter, I left my engagement ring and a note. I hope she was worth it. The criminal case moved quickly. The bottle contained the same sedatives found in my system. Vivian's fingerprints were all over it. The security footage showed clear intent. Her lawyer tried to argue she was helping me sleep better, that she was worried about my stress levels. The prosecutor destroyed that defense. If she was concerned, why didn't she talk to her future daughter-in-law? Why sneak into the house? Why hide the medication? Why continue for months when the victim was clearly suffering negative effects? Vivian took a plea deal. 2 years probation, mandatory psychiatric evaluation, restraining order, and she had to pay for my medical expenses and therapy. Derek showed up at the sentencing. He sat behind his mother, glaring at me across the courtroom like I was the villain. After it was over, he cornered me in the parking lot. I hope you're happy, he said. My mother's life is ruined. She poisoned me, Derek. She was trying to help you relax. You were always so stressed about everything. I stared at him. Even now, even after everything, he couldn't see it. Goodbye, Derek. That's it? 3 years and you're just done? I was done the moment you chose her over me. I just didn't realize it yet. He opened his mouth to argue, then closed it. Something in my face must have told him it was truly over. He turned and walked away. I didn't watch him go. The restraining order was supposed to keep Vivian away. It didn't. 2 weeks after the sentencing, I started receiving letters. Long, rambling manifestos about how I'd stolen her son, how I was ungrateful, how she'd only ever tried to help me. The restraining order violation was reported. She was warned. Then my car was keyed. Someone had scratched homewrecker across the driver's side door. I had no proof it was her, but I knew. My work email started receiving messages from fake accounts. Pornographic images with my face badly photoshopped onto them, sent to my entire office. IT traced them to a VPN, but they couldn't identify the source. I changed my number, closed all my social media, moved to a new apartment, and didn't tell anyone the address except Tessa and my parents. 3 months later, I met Qley. He was a customer at the coffee shop where I was working part-time while job hunting. I'd lost my previous job due to the scandal. Someone had sent those photoshopped images to my boss, claiming I was running an inappropriate side business. Qley was kind, patient. He listened to my story without judgment and said, "That's not a mother. That's a stalker who happens to share DNA with her victim." We started dating slowly. I was terrified to trust anyone, terrified to bring someone into the mess Vivian had made of my life. But Qley was different. When I told him about the restraining order, he didn't minimize it. When I explained the drugging, he didn't suggest there might be another explanation. He believed me, completely. 6 months into our relationship, I came home to find my apartment door ajar. My blood ran cold. I called Qley instead of going inside. "Don't go in," he said immediately. "I'm calling the police and I'll be there in 10 minutes. The police cleared the apartment. Nothing was stolen, but someone had been inside. They'd rearranged my bedroom furniture, just like Vivian had done before. They'd taken my birth control pills again, left photos of Derek as a child on my dresser. And on my bed, they'd left a note in Vivian's handwriting. "You can't run forever. He needs a good mother, and I won't let you ruin him like you ruined my son." The detective who responded was Officer Chen again. She looked at the note and sighed. "This is escalating. She's convinced herself you're the enemy. Has she tried to contact Derek?" "I don't know. We don't talk. We'll look into it. But you need to consider that a restraining order might not be enough. She's violated it multiple times. She's not stable. What are my options?" "Document everything. Cameras inside and outside your apartment. Change your locks again. Vary your routine. And honestly, consider moving states. I've seen cases like this end badly." I didn't want to run, but I was exhausted. The legal fees had drained my savings. The stress had cost me my job, my apartment, my sense of security. That night, Qley asked me to move in with him. "I know it's fast," he said, "but you need to be somewhere safe, somewhere she can't find you." His apartment building had security, cameras, a doorman. It felt like a fortress after months of looking over my shoulder. I moved in the next week, didn't tell anyone except Tessa and my lawyer. I got a new job under my middle name, started therapy twice a week. For 3 months, there was nothing. No letters, no break-ins, no harassment. I started to breathe again. Then Tessa called me, her voice shaking. She found me. "Vivian showed up at my studio today asking where you live." My stomach dropped. "What did you say?" "Nothing. I told her to leave or I'd call the police, but she knows we're friends. She's going to figure out you're with Qley eventually." "How would she know about Qley?" "I don't know, but you need to be careful." I told Qley everything that night. He listened, his jaw tight. "We need to end this," he said finally. "How?" "I'm a cybersecurity analyst. I know people who can help." "Legal people," he added quickly. "We find out how she's tracking you, cut off her information sources, and build a case for a permanent protective order. She violated the restraining order multiple times, and she still only got probation. That was before she broke into your apartment and left threatening notes, before the stalking escalated. We document everything from here on out, every attempt at contact, every violation. We build a case so airtight that the judge has no choice but to take this seriously." It sounded impossible, but I was so tired of running. Qley's friend, a digital forensics investigator named Troy, found the leak within 48 hours. My work email had been compromised. Someone had installed tracking software months ago during the photoshopped image incident. "They've been reading every email you send," Troy explained. "They know where you work, who you talk to, everything. The IP addresses trace back to your ex-fiancé's home. Derek is helping her? Either that or she's using his computer. Either way, they're working together." We wiped my email, changed every password, and installed VPNs and encrypted communication. Then we went on the offensive. Every time Vivian tried to contact me through new email addresses, we documented it. When she created fake social media profiles to track Qley, we documented it. When she showed up at my new workplace pretending to be a customer, the security cameras documented it. In 3 months, we had 47 documented violations of the restraining order. My lawyer filed for a permanent protective order with a motion to extend it to include Qley. The hearing was scheduled for February. Derek showed up. I hadn't seen him in almost a year. He looked terrible. Thinner, dark circles under his eyes, clothes wrinkled. He sat next to his mother, and when our eyes met, there was something broken in his expression, something that hadn't been there before. The judge reviewed the evidence, the security footage, the emails, the tracking software, the 47 violations. Vivian's lawyer tried to argue that she was simply a concerned mother trying to maintain contact with her son's ex-fiancé, that the violations were misunderstandings. My lawyer presented the threatening note, the drugging evidence, the pattern of escalation. The judge wasn't amused. "Mrs. Vivian Torres," she said, her voice hard, "you have shown a persistent and alarming pattern of harassment, stalking, and threats. You drugged someone. You broke into their home multiple times. You violated a restraining order 47 times. This goes far beyond a concerned mother. This is criminal behavior." Vivian started to cry. "I just wanted to protect my son." "Your son is an adult," the judge interrupted. "He doesn't need protection from someone he chose to marry. What he needed was a mother who respected his choices. What you've done instead is criminal stalking, and I'm granting a permanent protective order. You are to have no contact with Ms. Peterson or Mr. Thompson. You are not to go within 500 feet of their residences, workplaces, or any location where they regularly frequent. You are not to contact them directly or indirectly, through mail, email, phone, social media, or third parties. If you violate this order even once, you will serve jail time. Do you understand?" Vivian nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Mr. Torres," the judge continued, looking at Derek, "you've been enabling this behavior. The tracking software was installed from your computer. Whether you did it yourself or allowed your mother access, you're complicit. I strongly suggest you seek therapy to address whatever dynamic is happening between you and your mother, because what I've seen here is deeply unhealthy." Derek didn't respond. He just stared at the table. After the hearing, I thought it was over. Finally, truly over. For 6 months, there was silence. I married Qley in a small ceremony with only our closest friends. We bought a house in a different city. I went back to school and finished my degree. Life was normal, peaceful. Then my mother called. Honey, I need to tell you something and you're not going to like it. My chest tightened. What? Derek showed up at the house today. Did you call the police? No, wait, listen. He looked awful. He was crying. He said he needed to talk to you, that it was important. Mom, he's violated the protective order by trying to contact me through you. I know, but he said something that worried me. He said his mother is sick, really sick, and she's been asking for you. I closed my eyes. I don't care. I know, and I told him that, but he said something else. He said he's been in therapy for 8 months, that he finally understands what happened, that he wants to apologize. It's too late for that. I told him that too. But honey, he gave me this letter. He said if you don't want to read it, to throw it away, but he wanted you to have the choice. My mother sent me a photo of the envelope, Derek's handwriting, addressed to me. I stared at it for an hour before opening it. The letter was 6 pages long, handwritten, tear-stained in places. He wrote about therapy, about finally confronting the truth of his relationship with his mother, about realizing that he'd been groomed since childhood to prioritize her needs over everyone else's, including his own. He wrote about the tracking software, how his mother had installed it on his computer without his knowledge, how she'd been reading all his emails for years, how she'd manipulated him into believing I was the problem. He wrote about the moment he finally saw the truth, when his mother, in a fit of rage after the protective order hearing, admitted that she'd been trying to make me sick enough that I'd leave, that she'd researched the medications specifically to cause the symptoms that would make me dependent and pliable, that her plan had been to get me pregnant against my will, hoping the responsibility would trap me in the relationship while she maintained control. He wrote about the horror of understanding what she'd done, what he'd enabled. He wrote about his own therapy journey, his diagnosis of enmeshed attachment disorder, his realization that he'd never been allowed to individuate, to become his own person separate from his mother. And he wrote an apology. Not the kind that asks for forgiveness, but the kind that acknowledges harm without expectation of reconciliation. I don't expect you to respond to this, he wrote. I don't expect you to forgive me. What I allowed to happen to you was unforgivable. I chose my mother over the woman I claimed to love, over basic human decency, over your safety and well-being. I made you doubt your own sanity. I gaslit you. I enabled abuse. And I'm sorry. Not because I want you back, but because you deserve to know that none of it was your fault. You were right about everything. I was too broken to see it. The letter ended with a single request. My mother is dying. Liver failure, caused by years of abusing the same medication she was giving you. She has maybe 6 months. She's been asking for you, saying she wants to apologize. I'm not telling you this because I think you owe her anything. You don't. I'm telling you because I know you, and I know you'll wonder later if you should have gone. So I'm giving you the information. What you do with it is your choice. I showed the letter to Qley. He read it in silence, then looked up at me. What do you want to do? I don't know. You don't owe her anything. I know. But I thought about it. About closure. About the woman who had poisoned me, stalked me, tried to destroy my life. About facing her one last time. I think I need to see her. Then I'm coming with you. We drove to the hospice facility the next weekend. Qley waited in the car while I went inside. Vivian looked like a ghost. The vibrant, controlling woman who had dominated every space she entered had withered to almost nothing. Her skin was yellow, her eyes sunken. She was hooked up to machines that beeped and whirred. When she saw me, she started to cry. You came, she whispered. I stood at the foot of her bed, my arms crossed. I came, but not for you. I came for me. She nodded weakly. I'm sorry, for everything. I was sick. I couldn't see it then, but I was sick. You were poisoning me. I know. Tears streamed down her face. I thought if I could make you weak enough, dependent enough, you'd need Derek the way I needed him. I thought if you got pregnant, you'd stay. You'd be part of the family the right way. The right way? Under my control. She laughed bitterly. That's what my therapist says. That I was trying to control you the way my mother-in-law controlled me. I swore I'd never become her, and I became something worse. I didn't say anything. Derek finally cut me off, she continued. 3 months ago. He said he couldn't have a relationship with me until I took accountability for what I'd done. That's when I knew I'd lost him. Really lost him. Not to you, but to myself. My own sickness. Good, I said quietly. He deserves a life separate from you. She flinched, but nodded. Will you tell him something for me? Will you tell him I'm proud of him? For finally choosing himself? No. If you want to tell him something, find a way to do it yourself. I'm not your messenger. Fair. She closed her eyes. Thank you for coming. I know I don't deserve it. You don't. Are you happy? Now? The question surprised me. I thought about Qley, about our little house, about going back to school, about the life I was building. Yes, I said. I'm happy. Good. She smiled. A sad, broken thing. That's good. I turned to leave. Wait, she called. One more thing. The bottle. The medication. I still have nightmares about your face that day when you found out. The fear in your eyes. I see it every night when I try to sleep. I just wanted you to know that. I looked back at her. This woman who had tried to destroy me. This woman who was now destroying herself with the same poison she'd used on me. I hope the nightmares never stop, I said quietly. I hope you see my face every single night until you die. Her expression crumpled, but she nodded. I walked out without looking back. In the car, Qley held my hand. How do you feel? Lighter. We drove home in comfortable silence. I never asked Derek about his mother again. Never asked when she died or where she was buried. That chapter of my life was closed. 3 years later, Tessa called me. You're not going to believe who I ran into. Who? Derek. He's engaged to someone named Ramona. She seems really nice. And get this, when I mentioned you, he smiled. Not a bitter smile. A real one. He said he hopes you're doing well. That's good. I hope he's happy. He asked if you'd be okay with him reaching out. Not to rehash anything, just to apologize in person now that enough time has passed. I thought about it. About the scared girl who'd watched security footage of her future mother-in-law poisoning her coffee. About the woman I'd become since then. Tell him it's not necessary, but tell him I wish him well. Will do. After I hung up, Corey came into the kitchen where I was making coffee. My own coffee, in my own house, with no one adding anything to it but me. Everything okay? He asked. Everything's perfect. He kissed my forehead and grabbed his own mug. We stood together in our kitchen drinking coffee, talking about our day. Simple, normal, safe. 6 months later, I was pregnant. We didn't tell anyone for 12 weeks, paranoid about jinxes. When we finally shared the news, my mother cried happy tears. Do you think you'll be scared? She asked. After everything that happened? No, I said honestly, because I know exactly what kind of mother-in-law I'm never going to be. The baby, a girl we named Phoenix, was born in April. The name felt right, rising from the ashes of who I used to be. Holding her in the hospital, watching Corey's gentle hand support her tiny head, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Complete, unmarred peace. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I heard about the baby. Congratulations. You're going to be an amazing mother, and you'll never have to worry about me showing up uninvited. I learned that lesson. I hope she brings you all the joy you deserve. D. I showed it to Corey. Should I respond? Do you want to? I thought about it, then typed back. Thank you. I hope you're well. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then, I am. Finally. Take care. I deleted the number and put my phone away. Phoenix made a small sound, and I looked down at her perfect face. This was my family now. This was my life, and no one was ever going to take it from me. But the story doesn't end there. Because 4 years later, when Phoenix started preschool, I got a call from the director. Mrs. Thompson, I need you to come in. There's been an incident. My heart dropped. Is Phoenix okay? She's fine. But someone tried to pick her up today. Someone not on the approved list. I arrived within 10 minutes. The director led me to her office where security footage was pulled up on her computer. There, clear as day, was a woman I didn't recognize. Older, gray-haired, well-dressed. She was arguing with the front desk teacher. Who is that? I asked. She said she was Phoenix's grandmother. She had photos of her, knew her favorite color, her teacher's name, but when we checked our system, no one by her name was authorized. When we refused to release Phoenix, she became agitated. We called the police. My stomach turned. What was her name? The director checked her notes. Vivian Torres. The room tilted. That's impossible. Vivian Torres is dead. The director's eyes widened. Are you sure? Yes. She died 4 years ago. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and searched, found the obituary, showed it to the director. Then who? She started. The answer hit me like ice water. Derek's sister. His younger sister who I'd met exactly once, at his family's Christmas party 5 years ago. A sister who looked almost identical to their mother. A sister named Vivian, named after their grandmother. I need that footage, I said quietly. All of it. I need to file a police report. The pattern was starting again, but this time, I was ready. The police took my report, pulled up the security footage, ran facial recognition. It was Vivian Torres Jr. Derek's sister, age 32. No criminal record. But when they dug deeper, they found her social media. Hundreds of photos of my daughter, taken from a distance, clearly without permission. Phoenix at the park, Phoenix at the grocery store, Phoenix at our house. She's been following you, Officer Chen said. She'd been promoted to detective now, and when she'd heard my name on the report, she'd requested the case personally. How long, I don't know, but this is organized stalking. Why would she do this? Have you had any contact with Derek or his family in the past 4 years? One text. When Phoenix was born, nothing since. Detective Chen pulled up more files. Derek's mother, Vivian Sr., left everything to him in her will, including a letter. The executor's notes indicate the letter contained detailed instructions regarding the grandchildren. We're getting a warrant for the full contents. The letter, when we finally saw it, was 17 pages long. A manifesto written by Vivian Sr. during her final months. Instructions for ensuring that any grandchildren Derek had would be raised properly. And a separate section for Phoenix. My daughter, the grandchild she'd never met. This child must be saved from her mother's influence, Vivian had written. The girl will poison her against the family. Junior must step in, must take custody through any means necessary. The bloodline must be protected. My hands shook as I read. Vivian Sr. had created a detailed plan. Money set aside in a trust for legal fees. Instructions for documenting my every mistake as a mother. Suggestions for how to manipulate custody proceedings. And Derek's sister had followed every instruction. We need a restraining order, Detective Chen said. And you need security. Professional security. The hearing happened fast. Derek showed up, looking devastated. I didn't know, he said when he saw me in the courthouse hallway. I swear I didn't know what was in that letter. I never opened it. My sister did. She was the executor. You should have warned me she existed. I haven't spoken to her in 3 years. We had a falling out after my mother died. She said I'd betrayed the family by going to therapy, by admitting what my mother did was wrong. I thought she'd moved on. She's been stalking my daughter. His face crumpled. I'm so sorry. This is my fault. All of it. If I had just been stronger from the beginning. Stop. I held up my hand. This isn't your fault. You're not responsible for your sister's choices, but you are going to help me stop her. He nodded immediately. Whatever you need. What I needed was his testimony, his willingness to go on record about the family dynamics, about his mother's manipulation, about his sister's obsessive need to continue their mother's legacy. The judge granted a permanent restraining order. Vivian Jr. was ordered to stay away from Phoenix, from me, from Qley, from our home. She was ordered to undergo psychiatric evaluation. She was ordered to delete every photo of Phoenix from her phone, her computer, her cloud storage. She sat in the courtroom, stone-faced. When the judge asked if she understood the order, she finally spoke. "She's my blood," she said quietly. "That little girl is my blood. You can't keep me from my own blood. She is not your blood," the judge said firmly. "She is not your niece. She is not your family. Mr. Torres severed his relationship with his ex-fiancé years ago. You have no legal connection to this child. If you violate this order, you will go to jail. Do you understand?" Vivian Jr. didn't answer, just stared at me with the same cold expression her mother used to have. After the hearing, Derek pulled me aside. "I'm leaving the state," he said. "My fiancé and I, we're moving to Oregon. We need a fresh start, away from all this. But before I go, I want you to have something." He handed me a thick envelope. "What is this?" "Every communication I've ever had with my sister since my mother died. Emails, texts, voicemails, all of it. She's been trying to manipulate me into helping her get access to Phoenix, trying to convince me that you're an unfit mother, that we need to save Phoenix from you." I never responded, but I saved everything, just in case you ever needed proof of her instability. I took the envelope. "Thank you. I mean it when I say I'm sorry, for all of it, for not believing you about my mother, for not protecting you, for not being strong enough to stand up to the sickness in my family. You're standing up now. That's what matters." He smiled sadly. "I'm going to be a father soon. Ramona's pregnant, and I swear to you, I will never let my child experience what I experienced. I will never put anyone through what my mother put you through. I believe you." We shook hands. A formal, final goodbye. Then he walked away, and I never saw him again. For 2 years, there was peace. Phoenix thrived, started kindergarten, made friends, learned to read. We installed security cameras and alarm systems, but gradually, we relaxed, let our guard down. Then one Saturday morning, I was in the kitchen making pancakes when Phoenix came downstairs holding a package. "Mommy, this was on my bed when I woke up." My blood ran cold. "What do you mean it was on your bed?" "It was just there, with my name on it." I grabbed the package, my hands shaking. It was wrapped in pink paper with a card attached. The card had Phoenix's name written in elegant script. Inside, a single line, "From your grandmother who loves you." I checked every door, every window, all locked. The security system showed no breaches. Qley called the police while I held Phoenix, my heart racing. How had someone gotten into our house? How had they reached my daughter's bedroom without triggering any alarms? Detective Chen arrived personally. She examined the package, the wrapping, the card. "Don't open it," she said. "We'll process it for evidence first." The bomb squad was called, just in case. They x-rayed the package, checked for any dangerous substances. Finally, they gave the all-clear to open it. Inside was a doll, an antique porcelain doll with blonde hair and blue eyes, dressed in a Victorian-style gown. And tucked into the doll's dress was a note. "I'm always watching. I'll never stop trying to save you, grandmother." The investigation revealed that Vivian Jr. had hired someone, a private investigator who specialized in surveillance and, apparently, breaking and entering. He'd disabled our security system remotely, entered through a basement window we didn't even know could be opened, left the package, and exited the same way. All in under 4 minutes. The investigator was arrested. So was Vivian Jr., for violating the restraining order and hiring someone to commit a crime. This time, she went to jail. 6 months for the violation, another year for the break-in conspiracy. But I knew, even as they took her away in handcuffs, that it wasn't over. That obsession like that doesn't just end. It hibernates, waits for another opportunity. We moved. Across the country this time. Changed our names, legally and completely. I became Allison Thompson. Phoenix became Iris Thompson. New identities, new lives. Qley's company allowed him to work remotely. I started teaching online. We bought a house in a small town where everyone knew everyone, where a stranger would be noticed immediately. For 5 years, we lived in peace. Phoenix, now Iris, grew into a smart, funny, confident 10-year-old. She had friends. She had hobbies. She had a life untouched by the darkness of my past. Then one day, I was picking her up from school when I saw a woman standing across the street, watching. Gray-haired now, but unmistakable. Vivian Jr. had found us. I grabbed Iris and ran to the car. Called Detective Chen. "She's out," Detective Chen confirmed. "Got early release for good behavior 3 months ago. She was supposed to be in a halfway house, wearing an ankle monitor, but she cut it off 2 weeks ago. There's a warrant out for her arrest. She's here. She found us. Get to the police station. Now." We stayed at the police station for 3 hours while they searched for Vivian Jr. They found her car parked near the school. Found her hotel room 2 miles away. The walls were covered in photos. Of me, of Iris, of our new house, our new life. She'd found us 6 months ago. Had been watching ever since. Planning. They found her that night. She was in our backyard, trying to pick the lock on our back door. When the police arrested her, she was crying. "I just want to meet her," she sobbed. "I just want to meet my niece." "Why won't you let me meet her?" "Because she's not your niece," I said, watching from the safety of a police car. "Because you're obsessed with a child who has nothing to do with you. Because you can't let go of your mother's sickness." "My mother was right about you," she spat. "You're poison. You destroyed my brother. You stole his child. Derek has his own child now, his own family. He moved on. Why can't you? Because someone has to carry on the family legacy. Someone has to make sure the bloodline is protected. That's not a legacy. That's a curse." They took her away. This time the charges were serious enough that the plea deal included mandatory psychiatric commitment. She'd spend at least 5 years in a mental health facility, maybe longer. Detective Chen visited me before she went back home. This should be the end of it, she said. With mandatory treatment and supervision, she won't be able to find you again. You can't promise that. No, I can't. But I can promise that we'll be watching. And if she ever gets released, you'll be notified immediately. Iris asked me about it that night. Asked why the lady was watching her. Why she called herself grandmother. I sat her down and told her the truth. Age appropriate, but honest. About Derek. About Vivian Sr. About the family that couldn't let go. Are they going to keep trying to take me? She asked, her eyes wide. No, sweetheart. They're never going to take you. I won't let them. But what if? No what ifs. You are mine. You are Daddy's. You are ours. And we will always keep you safe. She hugged me tight. I'm glad you're my mom. I'm glad you're my daughter. That night, Corey and I lay in bed, talking about the future. Maybe we should move again, he said. No, we've moved enough. This is our home. We're not letting her chase us away from another life. What if she comes back? Then we'll deal with it. But we can't keep running forever. At some point, we have to stand our ground. He nodded, pulling me close. Then we stand our ground. And we did. Years passed. Iris became a teenager. Vivian Jr. remained in the psychiatric facility, her condition deemed too unstable for release. Derek sent Christmas cards every year, photos of his growing family, a boy and a girl, both beautiful, both apparently healthy and happy. He never asked to meet Iris, never pushed for any kind of relationship, just sent the cards with a simple message. Thank you for teaching me what it means to protect someone you love. When Iris turned 16, I finally told her the full story. Everything. The drugging, the stalking, the poisoning, the years of harassment, the sister who couldn't let go. She listened in silence, her face pale. You went through all that? She finally asked. I did, but I survived. We survived. And you grew up safe because of it. I never want to meet them. Any of them. You don't have to. They're not your family. They never were. You're my family. You and Dad. That's enough. More than enough. She hugged me tight, and I held her. This girl I'd fought so hard to protect. This girl who'd been wanted by people who had no right to want her. The last time I heard anything about Vivian Jr., she was still in the facility. Still undergoing treatment. Still, according to her doctors, fixated on the idea that she had a niece who needed saving. She's created an entire fantasy, the psychiatrist told me during a mandated check-in. In her mind, she's the hero. You're the villain. And your daughter is the princess who needs rescuing. She's rewritten the entire narrative to match her delusions. Will she ever get better? Honestly, probably not. This level of obsessive thinking, combined with her family history, suggests a genetic component. She's not dangerous as long as she's supervised and medicated. But if she were ever released without support, so she's never getting released. Not while I have any say in it. That should have been the end. The final chapter. The resolution. But it wasn't. Because 2 weeks ago, I got a letter, forwarded through my lawyer, from a psychiatric facility in Nevada. From Vivian Jr., I almost threw it away without reading it. But something made me open it. The handwriting was shaky, but legible. The letter was short. I'm dying. Cancer. Maybe 3 months left. They're keeping me here until the end. I wanted you to know that I finally understand. After years of therapy, of medication, of confronting the truth, I finally see what my mother did to me, what she did to you, what I tried to do to your daughter. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I wanted you to know that I see it now. The sickness, the curse, like you called it. I'm the last one left carrying it. When I die, it dies with me. Your daughter is safe. She always will be. I made sure of it. I left instructions that no one from the Torres family is ever to attempt contact. I named you as the gatekeeper in my will. No one can try to find her without going through you first. It's the least I could do. I'm sorry for everything. I hope someday you can believe that. I hope someday your daughter can live without looking over her shoulder. V. I read the letter 3 times. Then I showed it to Corey. Do you believe her? He asked. I don't know, but I think, maybe. After everything, after all these years, maybe she finally broke through the programming. What are you going to do? I thought about it. About forgiveness. About closure. About the weight of carrying hate for so many years. Nothing, I said finally. I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to visit. I'm just going to let her die knowing that I read her letter, that I heard her apology, and that I'm choosing to move forward without carrying her guilt for her. That seems fair. More than fair. It's freedom. I burned the letter that night, watched it turn to ash in our fireplace, watched the smoke carry away the last remnants of the Torres family curse. Vivian Jr. died 6 weeks later. I received a notification from the facility. There was no funeral, no service, just a cremation and a trust fund established in her name, dedicated to helping families escape narcissistic abuse. In memory of the woman I could have been, the trust's dedication read, and an apology to the woman I was. It was, in its way, a final act of redemption. Too little, too late, but something. Iris is 18 now, in college, studying psychology, of all things. She wants to help families like ours, families trapped in cycles of abuse and obsession. I want to break curses, she told me when she announced her major. Like you broke ours. We broke it together, I corrected, by refusing to let it define us. Then I want to help other people do the same. She's going to be brilliant at it. I have no doubt. As for me, I still check the locks twice before bed, still glance over my shoulder in parking lots, still have moments of panic when I can't find Iris immediately. But I'm healing. We're all healing. The nightmares are less frequent now. The hypervigilance is easing. Life is becoming normal in a way I never thought possible. Corey and I celebrated our 15th anniversary last month. We renewed our vows in our backyard, surrounded by friends who know our story, who helped us survive it. During the ceremony, I looked at Iris, standing beside me as my maid of honor. This beautiful, strong, brilliant young woman who almost never got to exist, who was wanted by people who had no right to want her, who survived because I refused to let them have her. "What are you thinking about?" Corey whispered. "How lucky I am," I whispered back. "How lucky we all are, because we are lucky. Lucky to have survived, lucky to have found each other, lucky to have broken the curse before it could claim another generation. The Torres family legacy ended with Vivian Jr. The sickness died with her, and in its place, we built something new, something healthy, something whole. This is my life now. Not the life I planned, not the life I expected, but mine. Completely, wholly, safely mine. And no one is ever going to take it from me again."